Hi everybody, it's me, Mariana. Welcome back to my channel. This is baby Theodore. Say hi. Hi. On this channel, I talk about motherhood and I also show some makeup tutorials. Today, I'm gonna be sharing my experience with breastfeeding. I actually made this video back in October, but I didn't like how it turned out and it was too long, so I decided to divide it into parts. On today's video, I will be talking about more about like the emotions and support and where you can find help, because breastfeeding can be really hard. And then on the second video, I'll be sharing more the technical stuff, like the things that you need, how to deal with oversupply, because that's something I went through, and I'll be sharing some tips. So baby's here with me today. I don't know how long he's gonna be stay still for. He's calling out for the dog now. So breastfeeding is probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life. I even consider it harder than the birth of my baby. If you watch the video about his birth, you will know that it wasn't an easy one. I don't consider it traumatizing or anything like that. It just wasn't easy. It just wasn't the way we wanted to happen. It wasn't nothing like we planned to be, and I thought I was done with the hardest part, but silly me, I did not expect for breastfeeding to be even harder, and that's what I'm going to be sharing here today with you. The thing is, society only teaches you that a natural birth can be almost impossible, that it's very difficult, and there's a lot of stress involved, a lot of pain, and they just tell you that you cannot do it. That's why a lot of women decide to do C-sections, and there are ways for you to prepare yourself for this experience. A natural birth, yes, can be really hard and it's a lot of pain, but it's something that you expect for it. On the other hand, breastfeeding is something that the world shows you as the easiest thing to do. Every ad or campaign that you see about breastfeeding, it's just a peaceful woman, a peaceful mother, right, with a happy baby, latch it on, having their moment, and with a lot of love, and you almost can see the hearts flying behind. Unfortunately for us, it wasn't like that, and I am sure there are women out there that are lucky enough to have breastfeeding as a really good experience since the very beginning, and statistics actually shows that it's 50 and 50%. So 50% of women have, I don't know, like a gift from God and they do it very well. But on the other half, there are people like me that struggled. Some women don't struggle as much. Some women actually do even more than we did. And I never understood why it was just so impossible for me to accomplish this. For us, actually, right, baby? Because it was really hard on him too. Every time I latched him or I got him close to my nipple, he would just freak out. And I'm not exaggerating. He would cry for his life. He would scream so loud that he would turn blue sometimes. And that's scary. It freaked me out too, because I was super worried about him, and I was just thinking with myself, like, what am I doing wrong? Why this is not working? It's like, is this my fault? Is it my baby's fault? Like, it was just insane. It was so freaking upsetting. And I got to a point that I was being mad with myself, and I was blaming on my own, and I was always blaming my baby. Like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with my baby? And that's horrible. Just thinking of it, it's like, it's heartbreaking. Can you imagine that? It's nobody's fault. But I didn't know that at that time. I didn't know. I came to learn after, when we got good with breastfeeding, when I learned what I had to do, when I learned how to be patient with myself and with my baby. I cannot express how upsetting it was. And even though now he's over a year old, now we're good, but just thinking of those days, it still makes me upset and still makes my whole body shiver. I just wish it was easier. One of my midwives came with an answer that kept my hopes up. I was always complaining about why me, why this isn't happening, why this is something natural and it's not happening to us. And she said that, Mariana, breastfeeding is as natural as walking is. But no one is born knowing how to walk. It's something that you learn with time. And I was like, yeah, like that makes sense. And the average time for a mother to get breastfeeding going good, it's 2 weeks. So I kept my hopes up for those 2 weeks, right and Mark, with him crying, with him freaking out, and making me feel the worst I could ever feel. But you know what? I consider both of us winners, and that's why I'm here today, to share with mothers that are struggling with the same thing or are still pregnant but already have like some anxiety about breastfeeding. I'm not gonna lie, at first I was pretty ashamed with myself. I wouldn't share with anyone what I was going through. Besides my husband, he was the one in the house seeing what was going on, and he was trying to help. He was always present there and trying just to make me feel better and try, like, even like moving baby around. He was just trying his best to make things go better. And I was very ashamed every time that people would ask, how's breastfeeding going? I'll be like, yeah, it's going. I wouldn't share exactly what I was going through because I just felt like a huge failure. And that probably because I wasn't sharing with anyone, I was just holding everything up to myself. It brought me to a very dark place, and I got very close to depression postpartum. And if I did get there, I would have blamed all on breastfeeding. But I got very close, but I didn't get all the way there. So we were good. That baby. I just wish I knew better, and I just wish that people talk more about it, more of the hard side, because I did a lot of research beforehand. When I was pregnant, me and my husband went to a breastfeeding clinic to get to know the lactation consultants there. We gathered some pamphlets. I read them at home. I got some books at the library. So I was reading about it, and I was just preparing myself and expecting for the best, because that's what they tell you. They can even say that, oh, it can be hard sometimes, but it will take 2 weeks for you to get it going. But no, the reality is, for us, it took 3 months. Over 3 months. It was 3 months and 4 days of his life. I can say that every and all information, it's not enough. You can read about latching, all the kinds of pumps that they have to offer, nipple creams, positions, and everything. And you can read about it all, and it's never gonna be enough. Just make sure that you're gonna surround yourself with the right people, the people that's gonna give you support and help you out with the stuff to do in the house, even like with breastfeeding, like positioning the pillows around you and things like that. The people that are around you are very important in this moment. I could never have done this alone on my own, right? It's very important, very, very important to have someone that you can talk to with no fear or shame, that you can open yourself truly, regardless what it is about. If you're scared, if you're worried, if you're mad at yourself, if you're mad at what's going on, it doesn't matter. Just have someone on your side that you can talk to with no judgment at all. Only support. We got to a point that breastfeeding was my life. I would go to bed thinking about it. I wouldn't sleep because I was thinking about it, and I would wake up the next morning thinking about it, and the whole day I would just go thinking about it, the ways that I could make it easier, the ways that I could make it happen for us. So my biggest struggle was with oversupply. Unfortunately, I knew more about low supply because that's what most women go through. I didn't read much about oversupply because that apparently is very rare. I produced a lot of milk. My body was just a milk production. My doctor said that probably my body thought I was having twins because the amount of milk that I produced was insane. And I'll be talking more about it on the second video. And because of that, because of my overproduction of milk, it made things harder for me and my baby, especially for him, because he just couldn't deal with it, with that much milk that I was producing. So he couldn't handle it. I couldn't get the handle of it either. So in the beginning, we started feeding him through the finger with formula. His 4 first days of life, he was fed with formula. The only time that he had milk from me, it was the colostrum that I hand expressed into a little cup, and then I fed him like that because that's the way that the nurses taught me to do. But then after that, he wouldn't latch like at all. The nurses taught us how to do the finger feeding, and then after feeding him through the finger, we started feeding him my pumped milk in a bottle. That's when I got introduced to pumps, to an electric pump, and that basically saved my life, right, baby? But it's something that we decided since the beginning that if I didn't breastfeed him, he would have my milk, because my body's producing this miracle liquid for him and exclusively for him, so that's what he's gonna get. It doesn't really matter how you feed your baby, just make sure that you make peace with your own decisions. I gave up breastfeeding about 4 times, and every time that I gave up, I would just hate my decision that, oh my goodness, baby's just gonna have the bottle for the rest of his life, and I'm confined in the house pumping with this machine. Just wasn't a happy place, because I just wanted to happen the most natural way, and that wasn't working for us. Then I learned that if you make peace with your decisions, life just gets so much easier. And just like everything else in your life, when you stop complaining and you start accepting things the way they are, yeah, things just get easier. Right, amor? It's also okay to give up. I gave up 4 times. On the 4th time, eventually my baby just started latching out of nowhere, but I will explain that on the second video. After everything we tried, and I'm not ashamed of it, because only I know what I was going through. I had my reasons. I was on my limit. I learned to be very patient. I don't think I ever been through any situation that I had to learn so quick to be patient and trust myself like I did with breastfeeding, because it was very upsetting on me. Trust me, it was hard. Now you laugh, right? When I realized that was really hard on him too, I put myself in place and I was like, oh, okay, hold on, Mariana. Think about him too and try to calm down. Don't stress yourself so much, because he feels everything that you feel. So thinking of him, I started to calm down more easily and more often too, because to be very honest with you, not every day is a great day when you have a baby. I just try to keep myself in a good place always because of him. If I can give you an advice about breastfeeding, it will probably be to accept help from the right people and the right people only. And trust me, you will know who they are, because the last thing you will need is someone that's gonna drag you down, because the situation is hard enough on its own. So you don't need people around you that's gonna be asking you all the time, how's breastfeeding going? How's breastfeeding going? How's breastfeeding going? No. That's a big no. You don't need that. And I had those people in my life and I had to cut them off. Unfortunately, I had to be a little bit rude. And if you have someone in your life that just had a baby and it's struggling a little bit or a lot with breastfeeding, just give their own space and offer help in different ways. Besides asking, how's breastfeeding going? Just go wash the dishes, hook them a meal, or offer help. The thing is, like, I no longer hide my failure. I like to use my experience to teach and to show other women that it's actually possible to breastfeed. It doesn't matter how long it takes. And I learned with time that that wasn't my fault, and it wasn't my baby's fault either. It wasn't nobody's fault. Around the 2nd month, I came across a group that's called the Leche League International. It's a non-governmental organization. It's a non-profit organization as well. They advocate and they teach women all over the world. They're present in over 80 countries, where they have group leaders and they have other moms part of the group that they share their own experience and expertise. And it's totally free. It's something that it's just out of goodwill to help out other women, because they know that the struggle is real. And this group was the first time that I came across bad words regarding to breastfeeding, because before that everything just taught me that breastfeeding was beautiful, breastfeeding was painless, the breastfeeding was this and that. Nobody ever said the ugly truth. They have group meetings in some cities. In Toronto, I know they have. Around here where we live right now, they also have another one. If you never heard about this before, I'll put the link down below for their Facebook group and their website. Make sure that you check them out. It's a great source of help. I cannot thank them enough. For a lot of challenges, they were just like the biggest help. It depends on the area that you are. We live in Canada, close to Toronto, Ontario. Here they offer breastfeeding buddies, which is something that's totally for free as well. So check around your area, wherever you are, if they offer something like this, because here's a service that you meet the person, then you just exchange messages if you don't have the time to meet, and they answer at any time of the day. That's a great help as well. I found a lot of help through KellyMom. It was started by a lactation consultant, and the site provides evidence-based tips and articles, a lot of articles and a lot of information about absolutely everything on breastfeeding. If you don't have any of these services around you, you can always hire a private lactation consultant. I have no idea how much they cost, because fortunately I was blessed to have free services around me. But if you have the money and if you're really struggling, they are experts. I met some lactation consultants here that I believe they're angels. I hope they're all like that, to be honest. And I really hope that you get the help that you need. Look for breastfeeding clinics around you. I'm sure there is at least one. There they have the lactation consultants as well, and maybe you can meet some mothers there and share experiences. Today I know that it happened the way that it was supposed to happen to us, and I see it honestly as the biggest learning experience of my life. Also, it's where I overcame my biggest challenge, so it makes me feel like a total winner after conquering breastfeeding, because now I just consider myself professional at it. I just feel like I can do anything and everything. The way they look at you is just like what's happening right now. It makes everything worth it. Even with the bottle, I can be here sharing this very loving moment with my baby. If breastfeeding is not working well for you and it's just being the hardest thing, I hear you. I totally understand. Just know that you're not alone. There's a lot of help out there. If you want to ask me any questions too, just please do. Make sure that you know your limits for your mental health, especially because it's something that can get you crazy and it can get you in a dark place like I was. Just know that it's not supposed to be like this, and there are other ways that you can feed your baby and create that connection. It doesn't matter how you get your baby fed. The connection you're both gonna make, it's gonna be unreal regardless. Trust me when I say that, because I've been through every feeding experience until we got the hang of breastfeeding, right, Amor? It seemed so impossible in the beginning. Hang on there, be strong. You do you. You know what's best for you and your baby. Make sure that you look for help and you ask for help. There's a lot of women there that's going through the same thing. There's a lot of help out there, groups, all these organizations that I'm gonna put the links below. You can do it, and even if you can't, it's fine. Just trust yourself on this, because you got this. And if you need more tips on the technical part of breastfeeding, make sure that you watch the next video that I'm gonna upload, the number 2, and I'll see you next time.